down, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode. We missed last week due to just some scheduling issues. No big deal. But yeah, we're back again. If your first time tuning in, I'm Genaro. That's Duran right there.
How's it going?
Go ahead and send this to your friends. Subscribe, follow, do what you got to do. We're just a couple young bucks trying to get our names out there. But today we're gonna go over the league leaders so far, being that we already went through a quarter of the NFL already. Um, so right now, let's go ahead and start off with the passing leader in yards, and looks like it's your man Dak. Duran, go ahead and how do you feel about Dak so far?
Yeah, they're playing a lot from behind. So Dak's throwing the ball a shit ton. And I always felt like he's not really the type of quarterback that should be throwing as much as he is, but he's actually doing pretty decent with it. It probably has a lot to do with his receiving core and tight ends stepping it up. And actually, Zeke, I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's number two in the league in receiving for running back. So two things that you don't really expect to see there: Dak leading in passing and Zeke being the number two receiving running back. That's a little bit out of their, repertoire of work, but yeah, that's where they're at right now.
Do you think that accounts to Mike McCarthy's
No,
early
nope,
offensive? No.
nope. I think it's because the defense has given up over 30 points each game, over 40 twice. It's just they got to score a ton of points and keep the ball moving.
Just a bunch of garbage time, pretty much.
Yeah, garbage time, playing from behind. I mean, Uh, I say in only one of the games they were really blown out of it. Every other game they've been kind of keeping it within, and I think the game that they were down the most in, they ended up winning somehow. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, we'll see what's going on. I actually had the Cowboys winning the East, but right now it looks like just with one win, the Eagles have actually the first place right now, which is
hmm
kind of surprising.
yeah,
But
I think it's yeah, the division stuff will work out more towards the end of the year. But yeah, I was surprised to see Dak here, 1,690 yards, and that's 300 yards above the next guy. So
yeah,
that's
the next guy up is actually TB12 right now. We just saw him take an L last night, which is a little strange, being that he thought it was third down when he threw a pass to Mike Evans. He was clearly just wrapped up. So
And that one's actually a little bit misleading because he has an extra game than the other guys. So
yeah,
overall, I think point yards per game, he's actually one, two, three, four, five. He's actually seven. So he'd still be on the list, but this is Tom Brady. He's been a little bit more up and down than we're used to seeing him this year. I mean, in his first four games, he had four interceptions, and that's just not Tom Brady like averaging an interception a game. But his last week's game, the five touchdown game, I think kind of really saved him and has got them back on track. And even though he has the two wide receivers that are a little bit banged up right now, Godwin and Evans, he's still getting out there and producing.
yeah. I think this line that he's playing with is actually his best line, but didn't look too good last night. Khalil Mack, although he only had 2 sacks, he was just living in that backfield, creating a bunch of pressures, whether it was going against Smith or the rookie Wirfs.
Should have
Um,
been three sacks without that penalty.
yeah, I think that penalty was kind of bogus, but
Yep.
it's today's NFL, unfortunately. Um, yeah, I can't really say much. Pretty much, you hit the nail on the head when it comes to Tom Brady. So let's go ahead and go to the third man up, which is Josh Allen. Kind of a surprise to
Definitely.
me, being that he's known for his arm. He has solid long ball, but he's looking a little bit more accurate this year, and that's something that we were concerned about when with the trade with Stephon Diggs.
hmm
He's feeding him quite a bit. He's finding John Brown. He's finding Cole Beasley. Even once in a while, he'll dish it out to Dawson Knox, which is pretty fun to see. I mean, this kid's proven a lot of people wrong, and I think he still has a ceiling up there that he can hit. I don't think he's reached that peak yet.
Yeah, this one did surprise me. Yeah, Diggs is definitely helping out a lot. I kind of expecting him to fall down a little bit as the season goes on. I think he's definitely started off hot. We'll see if he can keep it up, but he's number 3 in passing yards right now. I expect him to be closer to 10 when this is all said and done with.
Yeah. Um, let's see here. Let's move on. To I think is the MVP leading candidate. Not only he's in the top five running of it, but I'm pretty sure he leads all quarterbacks with thrown touchdown passes.
Yep.
Yeah, 16,
Hmm.
which is Russell Wilson. He has dynamic receivers with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He's even feeding his tight end, and it's always fun to see Greg Olson, although he's on a division rival for me. It's always fun to see that guy out there playing. He's actually one of my favorite tight ends. Um, yeah, man, Russell, man, he's actually one of my favorite quarterbacks, and he's proven a lot of people wrong as far as doing it without the talented O line or just a few receivers. He has two and he's making them work. Even the rookie Freddie Swain is getting some play and he's getting some touches too, which I like.
Yeah, even alongside the two wide receivers who are in the top 10 list coming up here in a little bit. He also has a top 5 running back, which Chris Carson, he's a little bit banged up right now too, but he's getting him the ball. Chris Carson, 3 catching touchdowns. I mean, he's just getting the ball out. 16 touchdown. His touchdown rate is really high right now, so that's probably going to come down a lot. But if there's one guy that can kind of stick in there and keep it going, it's probably Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be his MVP year, but I don't think this team's going to win a Super Bowl or anything like that just because their defense is not good enough. So it's kind of a catch-22 because the defense is going to give up so many points that Russell Wilson will probably win his MVP year. But I think the team overall won't be a Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah. All right, so let's go into the last quarterback we'll be talking about. It goes to Matt Ryan. It's a little bit surprising to me, being that the Falcons they always just seem I don't know, man. It seems like they lose juice like in the third quarter. I don't know if it's the coaching dynamic. I don't know if it's the whole situation what's going on right now with the whole you know world right now in the pandemic. But yeah, man, it's they just seem like they come out swinging and they put up a good fight like they did against the Packers, and then they just fizzle out. They just get scored on and they just fizzle out. But I know Matt is actually missing a lot of his receivers. Actually, his top two with Calvin Ridley being all banged up. Even though he got the clamps put on him by your boy Jair,
Mm-hmm.
and then Julio with the soft tissue injury is out, and then he goes up to Sudeikis, I'm pretty sure his last name is, and Russell Gage, and then Hayden Hurst is the tight end as well.
Yeah, I think this is just the perfect combination for Matt Ryan to be in this position. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Dak thing, but they don't have a running game. Todd Gurley just really hasn't changed much there. And their defense doesn't stop offenses from scoring. So even though they get these big leads, they can't really shut it out with the running game or just lock down the defense. So eventually Matt Ryan comes back on the field, has to throw the ball, and yeah, his stats are through the roof because of it. Maybe if you had a little bit healthier receivers or a little bit better receiving core, he would be further up on this list. But another guy's he's here for circumstantial stuff. A couple honorable mentions, guys, we can't forget. Pat Mahomes, he's on the list. They just continue to roll undefeated. He has multiple touchdowns every game, no interceptions. But to me, it's just they're trying to get the running game going more than they did last year, which is understandable. And of course, Aaron Rodgers, he's playing at a really high level right now. Number 2 in passing touchdowns. And what I think is most impressive is he's doing this without Devontae Adams mostly. And that was a big concern of mine coming into the season. And he's doing way better than I thought. So congrats to both of those guys.
Yeah, when it comes to Pat Mahomes, he's got that rookie running back. Actually, he's looking really solid, and I think he still has yet to kind of have a game, a standout game for sure.
Yep.
But definitely fun to see, them having a solid running game, being that, a lot of people thought that they were going to lean more on their passing game, which they are, but the running game has yet to come, and I think they're solid, and their defense is actually stepping up as well. And when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I hear, especially here on the West Coast, we hear a lot of, you know, what if the Niners drafted Aaron Rodgers? So I was following a writer, and he said, if you want to know what Rodgers would look like in Shanahan's offense, look at it this year. He's looking a lot more comfortable, and yeah, he actually has a pretty solid tight end, Robert Tanyan, and yeah, he threw him 3 touchdowns. It's pretty solid, man.
Yeah, he's actually on the leader for tight end. So we'll touch on him in a little bit.
All right. Well, let's go into running backs right now.
Yep.
Uh, like the leading the way is Dalvin Cook,
Yep.
Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he's on a kind of a crappy team right now. Who's still just kind of getting used to it. I don't know if Zimmer's message is kind of getting fizzled out right now. But yeah, they're not on a good team, but he's still making chicken salad out of chicken shit. He has 6 touchdowns. Looks like he has 424 yards right now.
Yeah, this is another team where they're the opposite. They are very run heavy. I know they're probably in the bottom three at passes to the wide receiver or even pass attempts. They're down there with the Ravens and actually the Niners. But yeah, it's just, I don't know why they're not targeting these wide receivers much, but Dalvin Cook is doing his thing on the ground. To me, I know he's leading in yardage wise. I don't know where my number one guy or the league's number one guy is right now, but Dalvin Cook, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep this up if the passing game doesn't help him out. And that's just because these defenses are going to be able to kind of zero in on him and, make that the focus. But, you know, Kirk Cousins, he's got to take advantage of Adam Thielen and this new rookie, Justin Jefferson, who's been stepping it up and actually leads his team in pass receiving yards. Um, so, yeah, we'll see if things change a little bit as the year goes on.
All right, goes on to the next guy, Aaron Jones.
Mm.
Tell you what, Aaron Jones is making you forget about Thunder Thighs over there, AJ Dillon, because he's showing up. He's proven a lot of people wrong as far as when it comes to fantasy. A lot of people picked him a little bit later. And then Jamal Williams is actually stepping up as well. So that run game is actually looking pretty solid. Yeah, that even that line is just blocking out of their minds. Looks like he doesn't get contact until I don't know 2 yards after the line of scrimmage, which is great because he has that full head of steam running forward and he has the ability to make some moves, possibly break a tackle here and there, and he's a great receiving option in the backfield as well.
Yeah, Aaron Jones is playing great. He's just continuing on from last year. Their draft pick, AJ Dillon, he's like the third string still. He's yet to see many carries. I think I've seen him carry the ball maybe twice in a game, but they could really use a wide receiver right now. So that just always makes me think if they would have taken a wide receiver, I got to see exactly who was available there, but instead of AJ Dillon. But I know there are some quality guys that they could have on their team right now that would be helping out way more than that. So their first 2 picks really haven't seen the field or contributed much. So that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. Goes on to somebody that we saw yesterday that we were actually complimenting. It was Rojo, Ronald Jones. He's looking solid. I mean, everyone thought as soon as they traded, or not traded, they picked up Fournette off of waivers that he was going to be the lead guy. And although he was when he went down, Ronald Jones is stepping up and he's looking really good. And I'm very surprised. He's looking powerful. He's looking a little bit more shifty. I'm definitely liking the way this guy runs.
Yeah, it's another one. It's a little bit, you got to watch out for these Tampa Bay guys because they do have the extra game on them. Ronald Jones is actually, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's the 14th in yards rushing per game. So he's doing okay. I still think when Leonard Fournette comes back, he's going to be taking a majority of these touches as long as he's healthy. But Ronald Jones definitely looking better than I've ever seen him play. And last night, he has back-to-back 100-yard games. So um, that was something I didn't really expect from him at the beginning of this season. So yeah, he's doing better.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this guy's on IR right now, but Nick Chubb,
Mm-hmm.
looking solid for the Cleveland Browns right now, and they have one of the best running duos as far as him and Kareem Hunt. So Kareem Hunt's going to be the lead dog right there. But man, Nick Chubb, when he was on, he was on. The O line was blocking really well, and um, yeah, he's hitting the holes. Powerful man. Like he's a strong dude, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
really want to. Everyone wants to talk about Derrick Henry, which is next, but man, that guy's a strong. And he's stout.
Yeah, actually, Kareem Hunt has more fantasy football points than Chubb, but we know Chubb. He was PFF's number one ranked running back last year. He's legit. He's a top guy. I was kind of bummed out when Kareem Hunt signed his extension because I like to spread out those number one running backs to as many teams as possible. But yeah, great. He's a great player. Kareem Hunt, I think he's finally going to take over this number one spot. We'll see for how many weeks, but I definitely think he'll be a top 5 running back ish. I know he does have a little bit of a groin injury too, but I think he'll be able to overcome that. Seems like he played pretty good last week with it.
Yeah. Next up, we got the big dog, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, he's on those Titans, man, which they just had a little outbreak of COVID. I wouldn't say little, actually. I think it was tallied up to 26 people in that organization that tested positive, and they're doing a little bit extra on the side, which is you know frowned upon. Not really wanting to, but that aside, this guy's picking up where he left off last year, and he's still running strong, still people are scared to tackle that guy down low, so they have to tackle him up high.
So Derrick Henry, to me, he's actually the league leader in rushing yards. It's because they still haven't played their fourth game yet, and everyone else has. They had to do that forced by stuff. So Derrick Henry's leading the league at 106.3 yards per game and 27 attempts per game, which is pretty crazy. I mean, he has one game with 31 attempts, and I always when I hear that, I'm always like, I don't know how much longer this guy could keep it up. But when you look at Derrick Henry and the way he's built and looks, it's yeah, I think he can keep it up. So we'll see if he keeps rolling throughout the year.
All right, you want to hit up on some honorable mentions?
Yeah, honorable mention. I mean, the number one guy, I know he's not leading in rushing or anything, but Alvin Kamara. He's the best running back there is out there this year. He has the most touchdowns, not necessarily rushing, but combined rushing and receiving. He has 7. And on top of that, 30 receptions for 321 yards. And that's 150 yards more than Zeke, who's in second place. So he's just running back, wide receiver combined. And even though it's not all rushing, Kamara's leading the running backs this year.
Yeah, I just want to, just not going to go into too much detail, but Joe Mixon has 315 yards. He had his
Mm-hmm.
breakout game last week.
Yep.
The rookie Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, Josh Jacobs, who's stepping up, and you can tell that kid is playing hurt. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hats off to this guy. This guy's playing solid. But my big honorable mention is somebody who went undrafted. I mean, all these
Yep.
guys above him were drafted, whether second or third round. But James Robinson for the
Yep.
for the Jaguars team, looking solid. He first came onto my radar when Dane Brugler actually said, watch out for this guy from Illinois State. This guy, as soon as he gets in the right system, he'll definitely come out. And the teams that he listed were Green Bay, Niners, and Minnesota. And Jacksonville wasn't on that squad. And then, they sign him undrafted free agent and drafted free agency, and this kid's coming out to play. Man, I'm very happy to see this guy.
Yeah, he actually broke the record for most rushing yards in the first 4 games for a undrafted rookie ever. So he's on the way. I never saw him play in college or anything like that. So once he got in the NFL, it was my first look at him, and yeah, he's been impressive. One last guy that I want to mention, he's not in the top of it right now, but Mike Davis is actually playing really well, filling in for Christian McCaffrey, and not only rushing the ball, but on the ground in 3 games that well, McCaffrey played the first one. The 3 games that he's filled in with, he has 21 receptions, which is kind of, McCaffrey esque. I know he's not doing as much as with it as McCaffrey would, but good for him. He's been around a while.
All right. So our last little position group right now is the receiving. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of blend in the tight ends and the receivers.
It's fine.
So let's see here. All right. So I'm gonna go based off the yards.
Yeah.
It looks like I know they just had a game uh last night, so it says
Oh,
Allen
yeah.
is leading the way.
Yep.
But DK Metcalf, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, this guy's a freak. I feel like they kind of expanded his route tree just a little bit, but not by much. He's definitely a strong, fast guy. He's like a horse out there. And um, when he, just put him on a deep route, and Russ has one of the prettiest deep balls in the game right now. So, man, that's a perfect pair right there.
Yeah, he actually should look a little bit better on this because of that fumble he had walking into the end zone.
Yep.
But tied with the most yards, 403. He just gets those deep targets for this team. And I don't know how, but he just ends up wide open down the field. And Russell Wilson, one of the best deep throw guys in the league, is just getting him the ball. And yeah, I see him just continuing this as the year goes on.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see here. Looks like the in receiving wise, the league leader is Mike Evans right now, but he did have a game
Yep.
last night. But behind him is actually Robert Tanning with 5 touchdowns. I mean, he's a tight end. He's
Mm-hmm.
leading all tight ends with receiving touchdowns, like you said earlier, and that's quite a bit of tight ends that are pretty solid in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, in one game he had 3 touchdowns, so I think that's really making his fantasy football stats look pretty awesome so far. He's just taking advantage of these hurt wide receivers. We see MVS, we see Devonte Adams out, and Robert Tonyan's just the next guy up, and he's kind of like a supersized wide receiver. So Aaron Rodgers, we know, can get the ball to anyone he wants to. So Tanyan is just taking advantage of that, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that he gets a lot of his game from Kittle, but he did have a this whole off season he was working out with Kittle, and during the whole game, every time he was scoring, Kittle was shouting him out on Twitter, saying, "Man, look out for this kid. This kid's good." You know
Yep.
that he was a receiver at Indiana State, and like you said, he's oversized receiver, and it's showing.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next up, we got Stephon Diggs. He has 26 catches with 403 and 2 tugs. This guy's getting it done. Looks like he can get it done with any quarterback, whether it's Kirk Cousins or Josh Allen, and he's looking pretty comfortable there in Buffalo. Pretty proud to see him, still doing it. I was a big fan of him coming out of Maryland. Liked watching him in the Minnesota, and then now in Buffalo. Man, he's shining for sure.
Yeah, looking way better than I thought he would. I mean, I'm a huge Stephon Diggs fan. It's just the quarterback timing, accuracy thing is what I was most concerned about. But I think Stephon Diggs is kind of pushing Josh Allen to make these throws and just helping him out a lot. Just gives him confidence. I don't know if you see he posts a picture of Josh Allen after every win in the locker room, and just seems like they got a good thing going. And yeah, I expect it to keep going with Diggs more than Allen, just because Diggs is such a good player, and you could see with his route running and his ability that he gets open, he makes contested catches, he gets yards after the catch. So one thing I always got to remember is bet on talent, and Stephon Diggs has tremendous talent. So
Yeah, for sure. He definitely does. One of my favorite route runners in the game. Um, Now it goes up to Amari Cooper, your boy. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
yeah, Amari Cooper just taking advantage of he's on the team that has the most pass attempts, most passing yards, and he's the number one wide receiver there. So he's actually the number one fantasy football wide receiver right now, and he only has one touchdown. So that just shows that it's tons of yardage, tons of catches, and yeah, he's the lead dog of that wide receiver group.
Yeah, and looks like we were just talking about this last night that the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you could count to the garbage time, like you're saying, are playing from behind. Um, a lot of their, you got top three targets, and like I think it was the top 15 with
Mm-hmm.
going with Cooper, Zeke, Gallup, Schultz. Especially Schultz stepping up, which is always good to see.
CD
But
Lamb.
oh, and CD, man, the rookie's killing
Yep.
it. Next up, we got the league leader in receptions with you got DeAndre Hopkins, who's actually
Mhm.
instantly connected with Kyler. He's playing really solid. Um, Man, he gets so many targets per game, and it's always fun to see. I mean, you can just throw up to this guy. This guy's hand's so big that you can just go up and snatch it out of the air, which is pretty fun to see.
Yeah, similar to Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, he's the number two fantasy football wide receiver right now, and he only has one touchdown. So that just goes back to Kyler Murray really feeding him the ball. And I would like Kyler Murray to kind of spread the ball around a little bit more if he's able to. I just think he has some other weapons on the field right now. So I don't know if he's forcing the ball in that direction a little bit too much, but already in 4 weeks, he has 5 interceptions. And that's just, to me, that's not Kyler Murray like. He really knows how to protect the ball, but he's kind of counteracted that with 4 rushing touchdowns. So it's a little bit give and take there. But I think overall, they'll learn how to mold this offense around their wide receivers and get the most out of it.
All right, next up we got Terry McLaurin, who I think is one of the receivers that actually, you know, definitely took one of the most. I don't know. I'd say like best improved so far. I mean, this guy just continues to be stay hot. He's doing it with Dwayne Haskins, who actually just now is getting benched for Kyle Allen. So we'll see how he meshes with him for sure. I hope he continues his way. Um, I have no doubt that he'll be a solid player.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, I definitely think he's the biggest improvement from college to the NFL. Last year, he balled out, really showed that he could be that dude there. But what impresses me the most about him this year is he's doing it with Dwayne Haskins, who we know he coming into the year, Dwayne Haskins, I had at the bottom of my quarterback rankings, as in just being able to get the ball on target, efficiency, and things like that. So imagine if I always use these guys as an example because I would love to see them with another wide receiver. But if Terry McLaurin was on Green Bay, how good he would be. Um, he'd be one of the top receivers in the league. So Terry McLaurin, he's a great player. I think he's in a bad situation, but we know they're making a quarterback change right now. So maybe things will change up a little bit for him and he could even show off more of his potential.
Yeah. Then next up, I'm gonna go ahead and just do some honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Uh,
I got a couple.
all right, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go with Adam Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
He's leading receivers with 4 touchdowns, 20 catches, 284 yards. This team isn't playing exactly stellar, but man, they're feeding the ball. Seems like meshes well with the rookie, even though the rookies I think take a little bit more targets away from him. But that's kind of how his role was with Stephon Diggs as well. And I'm happy to see him still balling out. It's always fun to see an undrafted free agent kind of do his thing.
Yeah, Adam Thielen, I think this is only going to increase for him as the year goes on. Like I mentioned before, talking about Kirk Cousins, the Vikings pass attempts are like in the bottom three of the NFL right now. So I just don't think that's the type of offense that they really run. So I think that's going to get closer to the middle of the pack as the year goes on. And Adam Thielen should see some more targets per game. And Justin Jefferson is doing his thing, but we know Adam Thielen and how good he is. So uh, yeah, I think he'll step up. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably target him in a couple of trades for fantasy football and things like that, just because I believe in him so much.
I got him. Come get him, man.
All right, check your inbox.
All right. You want to give an honorable mention?
Yeah, I mean, there's one guy he started off very hot. It's Calvin Ridley, and it's part of that Atlanta offense that has produced a lot of yardage and touchdowns and stuff going throughout the first 4 weeks. And he had 4 touchdowns in the first 2 games, but as you mentioned, he got shut out last week by Green Bay and Jair Alexander. So he did have 3 straight 100-yard games. So the shutout is kind of concerning. I think that they probably did put Jair on him instead of Julio because they knew Julio was a little bit banged up. But I expect a bounce back from Calvin Ridley, and yeah, so he's my guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else to say before we get on out of here? Grab some brews.
One just the most yardage for wide tight ends. We got Travis Kelsey. I mean, that's nothing new. He's up there every year. He has the best quarterback in the league. So expect that to keep going on. And yeah, that's about it. That wraps it up.
That wraps it up. Best of luck. A little update. Actually, right now, I know that the New York Jets this morning had a presumptive. It looks like they said it was a false positive.
Oh,
It was
thank
good. They're
God.
clean. They got negative tests, which is great. I hope this continues with the NFL, as well as everybody out there as well. Just stay safe. Wear your mask. Keep your distance. Wash your hands. Wash your ass. Um, yeah, maybe next time we'll follow on some defensive leaders. We got another week going on, so
Oh,
we'll do that. Another short episode, just keep things humming throughout the week. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.
later.